Hey, Old Man on the Mat crew. This is Tony Jones coming at you another great episode of Old Man on the Mat. Guys, we have a great guest here today, and I say that about all the guests. I know I do, but from what you guys see, what we're putting out, they are really cool. They have a lot to offer out there. But this guy, he's a judo black belt. He's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu blue belt. He's a former wrestling coach for 16 years. So the guy has done some things. And we'll cover a lot of that as we talk. But he is the owner and head instructor of Student First Martial Arts and Fitness out in Monroe, North Carolina. Guys, with that, I give you Cole Stanley. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on here, Tony. As far as all those accolades, I pretend to do most of those. So
I get it, brother.
sometimes I'm just a warm body in the room, baby.
Hey, you do trust me, man. I did judo. Man, I did judo back in college, and I'm a brown belt in judo from back in the day. I can't take any throws now, but man, I always said that's one of the hardest training. You know, it wasn't the throws; it was the hitting the ground and getting up all the time. You know what I mean? That was brutal, man. When did you start your judo journey?
I started in 2000. I was 17.
Okay.
And before we started today, we talked about how we're both from Illinois, or at least
Yeah.
that's where your home base is. But
Yeah.
I grew up in Illinois, so I started in a little town called Yorkville, Illinois,
Okay. Yeah.
which it's grown up. I mean, quite a bit since when I was a kid, man. I mean, you hear all those stories about how these little towns that were surrounded by cornfields,
Yeah.
all those cornfields are now shopping centers, and
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
slowly but surely, Chicago is just one continuous suburb, man, and it just
Yeah.
keeps growing and growing. And from probably a little bit past Yorkville, so maybe if you get maybe into the Oswego area, basically from there until downtown Chicago, it's all houses, all buildings,
It's crazy,
no
man.
no fields, nothing. But when I was a kid, even before I started going to judo, there it was a pretty small town, 2-lane road going through,
Yeah.
the main street of Yorkville. And now, man, it's a lot bigger. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's it's definitely grown up quite a bit. But I started that, played sports growing up, baseball, basketball,
Yeah.
track,
Were you one of those
and
kids that did everything, just like a jack of all trades out there doing wrestling, just joining everything every season? You were in everything.
yeah, because I mean, I'm from a very small town, so I mean, those were basically the only sports available. So
Yeah.
so that's what I did, and in the meantime, my friends and I are growing up watching Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior on TV and copying the moves, and we like wrestling. We like grabbing a hold of each other. There's I've heard this before, and it's an interesting statement, and it's definitely true that when you put kids together, they do one of two things. They either want to race each other or they want to wrestle.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my friends and I would do both, obviously, but we would wrestle, and after I got a little bit older, and this is the 80s into the 90s, so internet wasn't there. So the only exposure really that I knew about grappling was the WWF, and what I would see maybe on some movies, but
Yeah.
they didn't really even do very much grappling in the movies, maybe a throw here and there.
Yeah.
And then like I started to find out what wrestling actually was, real wrestling, amateur level wrestling, because I had a friend that moved into town. His name was Adam Theriault, and he would grapple with us, but I'm like, man, he's good. Like, like how can he take us down every time, and how can he just like hold me down? And I can't do anything, but with my other friends, I can just get up. It
Yeah.
must be because he's strong or something. No, he wrestled when he was young, so that was my first exposure to it. And this is junior high age, maybe sixth, seventh grade. So in a couple of years, I'm like, man, I'd really like to try that. That's a school sport and whatnot. And I tried to see, because my school didn't have wrestling. So I tried to do a co-op or tried to go to another school. and see if maybe I could just wrestle for them.
Yeah.
And there's just a no go, unfortunately. And that same friend Adam, he's like, "Well, have you ever heard of judo before?" And I don't remember the conversation, but I'm pretty sure that I had absolutely no clue what it was. He said
Yeah.
it was like wrestling, but he says it's in the gi, and pretty much any gi experience that I've seen was either, during my when I took a taekwondo class when I was
Oh, yeah.
8 or 9 years old, or seeing
Yeah.
karate on the TV, but I didn't know really what it was,
Yeah.
and as I go there, some people have like picture perfect memories of stuff like that, and I just don't.
You just brushed it out of your memory.
I just remember the early days just being confusing and difficult,
Yeah.
but I liked it,
Yeah.
and I came to that crossroads, right? Because I had tried, just like most kids. I mean, I try a whole bunch of different stuff, and sometimes they don't last, and sometimes they do. So I came to that crossroads. Well, do I want to continue this judo thing and try to figure it out, and maybe even compete someday? Or do I just realize that this is just too hard and I'm just going to quit? But here we are 25 years later, and I'm still involved, and probably actually more involved now than I probably ever have, which is which
Really?
is kind of
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because my training method back in the day, I wouldn't suggest this to people, but I would just, go 150%. And I mean, I would do, if there's 10 jumping jacks, I'd do 15.
Oh,
If
man.
I would stay after practice, I would go as hard as I can. Then I'd need like a day off because I was just like so beat up, and
Oh,
so it wasn't probably the smartest way to do it.
no.
But
Back then
now,
we were rubbing
since
dirt
I'm
in
a
it and
sen-
move.
yeah, since I'm a sensei, I'm able to, demonstrate stuff and go through the moves, and I can kind of pick and choose. I mean, sometimes like I'll get out there, I'll do the workouts. Other times I don't. Sometimes I'll do the live, sometimes I won't. It just kind of depends on how I feel and who's there, and what how my knees feeling and all
The
that
old
kind of
man
stuff.
knees.
But
I get it.
my knees, baby. But no, that's it, Tony.
Man. So when you were coming up the ranks and you were just going from you tried it, like you said, you tried taekwondo. Well, I'm almost think every martial artist out there that came up tried taekwondo. You know what I mean? We all did, because it was only I think back then only really program, oh, karate, taekwondo, let's try this. But then
Right.
now when you start doing judo, you said you were fascinated by it, but was it really hard? Like you said, it was, it's really hard, you want to stick through it. But did you change your mindset and say, you know what, this is hard, but I'm going to push through this because I can get something out of this? Or was it just, I like doing what I'm doing?
No, I'm a workhorse fan, and I like challenges, and it's interesting too because I'm not sure where exactly I got it instilled. I mean, my parents are both hardworking people, and my grandparents were big in my life, and I remember days to where, I mean, I was a very lazy teenager, and things like that. But man, sometimes when I really liked something, I would I would put a lot of emphasis into it. It's
Yeah.
like I wasn't like that with everything I did, but with certain things, I would push myself hard. And like, when I played basketball when I was younger, I mean, we would do a ton of conditioning, and me and my friends would do wrestling, and we would go outside and swim and play football. So I was used to, hard stuff in a
Yeah.
way like
Yeah.
that. It's
Yeah.
it's different because you don't see that as much anymore,
Oh, no.
because there's so much more digital entertainment now. There wasn't
Yeah.
as much back then, so we had to kind of like invent stuff to do. We
Yeah.
would create games and
Oh, yeah. I
go
remember those
places we
days.
weren't supposed to go, and
That's right. The junkyard, hang out at the junk. I did that. Hang out in the junkyard being
we had a
stupid
we had a
kids.
sand pit. We had a sand
Oh,
pit in
man.
town, and
Oh,
we would go and hang out in the sand pit, and there was a quarry that had filled up with water, so we'd swim in the quarry, and
oh, yeah.
I hope my mom don't listen to this, but there there used to be a train trestle that would
Yeah.
run across two pieces of land, where there's a bridge on one side and then there's a train trestle on the other side. Now it's not that long,
Yeah.
maybe 75 yards, 100 yards, so not huge.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was no railing or anything on there, So like, luckily, no train ever came. But I'm telling you, like, we used to run across that thing and
Oh
ride our bikes
man.
across that. I mean, no guardrails, no nothing. So
Oh
it,
man.
it was interesting.
But
But
that
no,
made that
I just
childhood fun though. It made a lot of fun,
oh, it did
Like you were
for
saying,
sure.
now they don't do that. I think these kids are missing so much of that. Hey, get out of the house on Saturday and don't come back till sundown. You know what I mean? Just go hang out. But that's one of the prices I think we pay with technology now. These kids are on their phones all the time or in the front of their computer all the time. Man, I do miss those days, man. That was a cool time.
Yeah, but judo, I enjoyed. I mean, it's like I didn't mind the physicality. I kind of liked it, and after a while I kind of would seek it. And even to this day, I seek it,
Yeah,
like I've been putting in a lot of time in getting this dojo going, and I also teach at a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu place, work full time. I have a 2-year-old daughter, trying to do social media, trying to do this, trying to do that. Man, like I was just feeling real stressed. And then after judo, the other weekend, one of my guys are like, "Hey, you want to stay and do some live?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man." And then I did that, and it was only maybe 10 or 15 minutes, but sweating, breathing hard,
yeah,
taking a couple falls, giving a couple throws, just having
yeah.
fun. He ended up headbutting me, and my elbow, or not my elbow, my eyebrow was bleeding, but that
Oh,
it is what it is.
that's is what it is. That's right, brother. It is what it is.
But I was like, all my stress had went away for the
Yeah,
rest of the day. So it
yeah,
was awesome. So like I
yeah,
still kind of seek that discomfort, seek that battle, as long as, it's done, and nobody ends up leaving, with the injury or whatever. But,
yeah,
if I can exert my energy and my focus and my mental and physical fortitude, and
yeah,
just do it to do it. And man, it's just a big stress relief for me, and it's been for a long time, and it's probably always been like that, honestly.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's that I like judo, and I've stuck with it. And like I said, 25 years later, I'm still involved with it.
See, that's good though, man, because judo is tough, man. That is tough. I put judo and wrestling up there at that same level in essence, because judo, I was trying to design a shirt. Okay, because I have a shirt line too, so I'm looking at the shirts. I said, how can I make something funny with judo, and I didn't end up making it, but it came up with, judo where you hit someone with the earth. And I'm like, it's what it feels like. It's hard, but it is fun. But like you said, when you were doing it, when you do it, it takes that stress away. And I think a lot of men, women too, I think everyone needs that kind of sport or something, hobby. I'm gonna put hobby in there, whatever you want to call it, something they can relieve that stress, and that martial arts does that.
It does. It does. Absolutely. You could say, judo, the first hug is free if you want to. So,
I want to steal that. First hug is free. I'm writing that down. I'm put your name by it.
I
First
talk about
hug.
beating people up with the earth all the time, man. So it's that's a common thing to say. So
Yeah, man. I remember, man, just doing those throws and going through those, but being so young at the time, we both were young when we started, so it was just a lot of fun. You'd work out every day. You come out of training, and I would go. My training was I was doing judo and hapkido at the same time. So I would do judo first, which was an hour and a half training. It was really that was my heart, and I used hapkido as my cool down because it was back to back, taught by the same instructor. And now, man, if I even look at that kind of schedule, I probably want to take a nap, man. So
yeah,
how
I
long have
get
you
it.
had your school?
Well, as far as the student first martial arts, this is our second week open,
Okay, yeah,
and then I've been um, a judo instructor at a well, it's mostly a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academy, but it's a little bit of everything. It's called 4M or Form.
Okay.
in Indian Trail, North Carolina, outside of Charlotte. And I've been teaching there. It'll actually be 2 years in March. It's coming up
Okay.
March. So I teach judo there twice a week. We've tried to do a couple different avenues with it, but for the most part, it's been Friday nights and Saturday mornings for the last 2 years almost, and it's good, and it got me thinking about maybe opening my own place, because I mean the way that I did it is I built 1,200 square foot metal building where I had it built in my
Okay.
front yard. So the dojo is on my property.
Oh
It's in my
wow.
front yard. Yeah. And yeah. And I mean, there are a lot of reasons why I did that, but I mean, mostly financial because it's expensive to rent places,
Oh,
man.
absolutely.
But and a lot of other reasons as well. But I mean, for a long time, especially because I see businesses start up and fail all the time. So I really haven't been the type to where I'm like, I want to start my own business. I want my own business. I mean, I have friends back home, back in Illinois, and here too, that own their own businesses, and some are successful and some aren't. But I've heard the struggles, and
Yeah.
I've seen them on the down years and seen them on the thriving years. And you hear stories about people dumping $500,000 into opening a restaurant, and it's closed in 6 months. And
Oh
it's like,
yeah,
man,
man. Oof.
that stuff doesn't interest me. It
It is.
scares me. So it's like, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't make that much money anyways. It's like it's hard enough for us to, like set aside a little money here and there,
Oh
and
yeah.
put up a nest egg for the future. But I was not interested in doing that, dumping $500,000 into something.
Man.
But I looked into, well, like a couple people I talked to are like, oh, I started out by teaching martial arts in my garage, and even you look back at some of the history of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu too, Hickson Gracie, his first dojo in the United States was in his garage,
Yeah, absolutely.
and
Yeah.
it's like that's where they started, and look how big Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is now. By no means am I trying to get like that or anything, but
Yeah.
it's just like, being in a garage, is an option. And I'm like, well, I could just do it out of my garage, but maybe I could try something else. So I looked into, just like a shed or like a pole barn type thing, and they really wasn't that much money, in the whole scheme of things. And so I ended up going that route, and
Okay.
I personally think for me that it was the best route because again, like we didn't take any money out of our savings.
Oh, that's a
We
beauty,
got
man. That's perfect.
a HELOC loan, so we
Yeah.
didn't have to put any money down.
Yep.
Um, and it's interest rate is decent, and it's a long-term loan, so it's basically just like I got a car payment
Yeah.
instead of
Absolutely.
$2,000 a month, man. That kind of
Yeah.
stuff scares me, man. Like,
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, could I pay that? Yes, but at some point, it's either like we got to go back to either eating hot dogs and ramen, or we got to
Right.
start dipping into our savings. And
Right.
I'm just
Exactly.
like,
You
I don't
never
want to
want to
do
do that.
that.
Go
I
back
don't
into the
want to do that.
savings. Yeah, brother. I feel
No.
you, man.
So
You know,
that's where we're at with that. So this is the second week. I actually have class tonight. I've already had a couple members sign up.
nice.
The goal is 5 members by the end of the month that are paid members, and 10 after 3 months. So
It's awesome,
that's a pretty realistic goal for me.
man.
And again, it's like even on these growing periods too, it's like when you start up a business or whatever, like that first month, like that rent's going to be due.
Oh,
Those bills are
absolutely.
going to
It's
be
due.
due. They're not going to be like, oh, you didn't make enough money this month. No, don't worry
Yeah.
about it. You
Right.
can just pay us next month. No, it's like we don't care if nobody came. We
Yep.
need that money.
That's
And
right,
like
man. That's right.
I'm not going to play that game, man. So I did it this way, and I'm happy I did.
Yeah.
And what's the future hold? I'm not 100% sure. you know, if I do expand or this does grow or I like this and want to continue doing this, you know, what about, maybe buying a half an acre and building a 3,000 square foot
Yeah.
pole barn or something instead?
Yeah.
Again, it's like the payment for that is still going to be cheaper than renting a place, man. Because I mean, I've
Absolutely.
looked,
And it's
and I'm not
yours.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not sure what the rent is out in Ohio, but like I was looking for about 1,000 square feet, and I'm looking within maybe 45 minutes of my house in a circle, and 1,000 square feet for like a slum is like $1,500, and then it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
and then you find out that renovations are 100% on the tenant, and
Yep.
if
Nope.
something breaks,
Yeah.
it's on the tenant, and it's this and there's that on the tenant. It's like the opposite of renting an apartment or house. And then or I could go the route of, oh, they got some cool places in strip malls, but I mean, now it's double the price, and now
That's
it's
double the
three
price
grand a month.
there. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like I just didn't want to do that. And with judo specifically, there, and again, like, there depends on what tangent you want to go into, but judo is a small martial art in the United States. It's big worldwide, but it's small in the United
Yeah. It's a
States.
small community here.
It's
Yeah.
hard to pack a school for a whole bunch of reasons, which again we could talk about if you want to go down that direction or not. Um, but and with any business, any sort of service or fitness business takes time to grow the clientele and stuff. And
Yeah.
like I said, man,
Yeah. Oh,
when
absolutely.
you hear those stories about how, you don't take a paycheck for the first 3 years in a business or something,
Yeah.
I can't do that, man. So I did
Exactly.
it this way,
Especially if that's
and
your
I'm still
main
working
source
full
of
time.
income, you can't do that.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of these
no,
guys that do those things, you have that bug to teach, but you don't think about it long term in essence. So they go out there and maybe, get a loan and then they build this business. They don't even look at the market. They don't know how many schools are around them and where they're going to draw the clientele from. So when we had a gym, this was, I left that, was it 8, 9 years ago. And when we started everything, we did all the research, we did the whole thing, we just put it all in paper, we did the whole thing, but we didn't have to get a loan either because we had set aside, as we were building up to that, set aside money going towards it. So we did our own build out, had friends who blessed us enough to help us with that build out. You know what I mean? And friends are friends, and they didn't charge us; they just helped us build it out and do the whole thing. So we didn't have a big nut to crack when we opened, and we already had another company that was doing well, so we could, step into this. So, but I get it, man. I didn't want to do that either. I didn't want to take a loan. I didn't want to be suffering, man, because like you said, who's going to go without a check for the first 3 years if that's your main source of income? So most of the guys that I know, like my buddies in Illinois with the schools, they have other jobs, and I get it. I get it, man. It's rough out there, man. So what made you decide to jump into the teaching industry? Was it that in that teaching role, was it because you were at Brazilian Jiu Jitsu already, and they said, "Hey, judo, help us out a little bit," or did you seek those guys out to start teaching there?
as far as to be a teacher, I mean, I was a teacher in the school system and a coach for 15 years.
Yeah.
So, my bachelor's is in education. Well, technically kinesiology,
Oh yeah, I
because
studied that too. Yeah.
I was, I was a PE teacher for
Yeah.
8 years, and I did special ed for the other 8 years. And I like being a teacher, man. And I don't currently work for the school system. Um, just I needed to get away for a little bit. There's a lot happening that I don't really like in the
Yeah.
school system,
Hey,
as a whole.
hey, I feel you.
But I like teaching. I like coaching. I like working with kids. I like being around sports, stuff like that. So while I'm coaching wrestling at Sun Valley High School here outside of Charlotte, one of my wrestlers, his parents own a jiu-jitsu gym.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, I did a little bit of jujitsu in Illinois before I left, maybe for like 6 months in the Peoria area. And then I had done, judo for however many years, 18 years, 19 years. And I don't know if he brought it up or I brought it up, but I'm like, yeah, I'll come and train a little bit again,
Yeah.
like I'll come back and train some jiu-jitsu and try to get better at grappling and try to improve my judo and understand submissions. Because I mean, as I came up through the system, we really didn't practice submissions much, man. It was just the generic thing that you hear about judo where it's just all
Yeah.
throws and nothing else. And
Yeah.
that's, I mean, just about everywhere I went was like that. So,
Yeah.
you know, we would spend a ton of time on throws and, you know, we would maybe, you know, you'd see a submission taught here and there, but
Yeah.
it wasn't broken down like it is in like a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academy, or it isn't broken down like somebody with judo will explain about a throw, you know, the different steps of it. It was more like, here's the arm bar, grab the arm, jump into it, and that was like it. And it's
Yeah.
like I didn't
Yeah.
understand it, and
Very
it never
limited
worked.
groundwork. Yeah.
It never worked. It never worked. So, you know, the owner who, well, again, like the wrestler, his parents own the gym, his mom does, and then she has a partner
Yeah.
named Davis. And I start training there, and you know, I just go and you know just wear a white belt, you know, because
Yeah.
I was a white belt in
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu. I'm not a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and so
Exactly.
I would do that and train, and I would just train, and then like you know people would give me funny looks a lot, you know, like you're a
Yeah.
white belt. It's like yeah, technically yeah, and they're like,
Yeah.
well, you've done something else obviously, and
Yeah.
then after a while, everyone found out that I was a black belt in judo and I coach wrestling and stuff. And then my last season, you know, it just me and Davis got in a conversation, and I'm like, man, you know, I like judo, and there really isn't anything around here. And he used to have a judo program that dissolved, and you know, we brought up me teaching, and I'm like, well, I can do it when I'm not coaching, you know, so I can, you know, I can coach it during the off season. He's like, well, I really don't want to get that going because, you know, it'll go and it'll start to get, you know, a little bit of momentum and then you'll have to stop. And then what
Yeah.
do we do? And
Yeah.
we got to start over.
Yeah.
So when I decided that I was going to, that I was done coaching and, you know, later decided to stop teaching as well at the school system, I'm like, well, I'm not going to coach again. You want to give this a shot? And he's like, yeah. And we started February of 24.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's turned out great. You know, it's a paid gig, and it's cool, man. A lot of benefits as far as like advantages, not medical
Yeah.
benefits, but you know,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
far as just perks. There's a lot of perks to doing it, and you know, so I'm teaching there and I'm liking it. And then I start watching some other people in the judo community, you know, Justin Flores, Shintaro Hagashi, you know,
Yeah.
Jimmy Pedro, Travis Stevens, people like that. And they're getting involved in jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
as well. You know,
Yeah.
all of them are Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioners, or Roddy Ferguson's another one.
Yeah.
And they start talking about, you know, crossover, or they start talking about how they like to help people in jiu-jitsu and basically just teach them judo, you know. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. And they're going around and teaching judo for jiu-jitsu all over the country. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I wonder if anybody would ever want me to do that, you know.
Yeah.
So we would have these affiliate days at the Jiu-Jitsu Academy. The affiliate is Pedro Sauer, and we would have these affiliate days. I think they have them once a quarter, and you know, there's probably a dozen schools that are associated with Pedro Sauer um, within maybe a 2 hour radius of the gym.
Yeah.
So they would come there, and we'd have these affiliate days, and you know, I'd go to them, and then again, like I just say something to Davis, I'm like, "Do you ever want me to teach any takedowns?" You know, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we could do that." So I would have my 30-minute slot or whatever, and
Okay.
then I just started talking to people, you know, the other black belts or whatever from these other academies, and I'm like, "Hey, what'd you think of today?" They're like, "I loved it." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's cool, awesome, thank you for saying that." I'm like, would you ever be interested in having me out to your club? And they're like,
Yeah.
yes, 100% yes. Would you do that? And we'd pay you. And I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
man. You know?
Yeah.
And so so I started traveling, and it just started out with a couple of these Pedro Sauer affiliates, within this little 2 hour window.
Yeah.
Some I do for free, some they would pay me. It's kind of like I really wasn't concerned about it. I just
Yeah.
like teaching and spreading the word of judo and getting people better.
Yeah.
And then it started out there, and then I'm like, well, a couple of these people liked it, so I'm going to reach out farther. I'm
Yeah.
going to start reaching out to non-affiliates. I'm going to start reaching out to other Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academies and just seeing if they'll have me. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the worst I could say is no, right?
Exactly. That's it. Nothing
So,
wrong with that. Yeah.
so I think I sent out maybe like 50 emails, to just people within like a 2 hour radius, and 90% of them heard nothing. A couple of them were nice enough to write me back and say, no, we're not interested.
Yeah.
But a couple of them said yes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, again, like, okay, so now the ball's rolling a little bit more.
Yeah.
So as things go along, again, I stretch a little bit farther out with the circle. I start reaching out of state to some schools, and it turned into last year. I ended up visiting 35 schools and teaching last year. So
Wow. That's
yeah,
cool, man. So you went out there and sold your skills, sold yourself. That's cool. Holy
or
cow, man.
or
Good.
or pretended to have skills, one of the two.
That's
So
right. Fake it till you make it.
I tell everybody that I watched a YouTube video on judo one time, and then I ordered a black belt, but they just don't believe me for some reason.
The scary part, there are people out there that do that. I'm sure if you've seen the Instagram page, was it Mick Dojo or something like
Bushido,
that?
yeah, McDojo, Bullshido,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's it.
oh yeah,
Oh, I love watching
yep.
those, man. It's like, oh my gosh, wait till this guy get punched in the face. What is he gonna do then? This stuff's not gonna work,
But
man.
to be honest, probably, you know, 80%, 90% of these people have never met me before. So it's like they're
Yeah,
taking a big leap on having me out. Like some, like I literally didn't even have to talk to them. They just emailed me back and said, "What's your date and how much do you charge?" And
yeah,
others, will be like, "Well, I'd like to talk to you first." And I'm like,
yeah,
"Yeah, yeah, of course, Red. Yeah, whatever
yeah,
you want." So
yeah,
sometimes it would be a phone call, and happily, I think pretty much all of the phone calls, if not almost all the phone calls, like they ended up having me out. I mean,
yeah,
because it's like I'm not charging a lot. Um, and again, at first I was doing it for basically free, and some of them I did do it for free, but I started out $40, just $40 for me to come out. Because again, it's like within an hour away, so that's
yeah,
gas,
yeah,
and maybe 10 extra bucks or something. And I would go to these places, and mostly jujitsu places. Now, I've also taught it at judo schools, but
okay,
that's a whole nother conversation because most judo academies are nonprofit, and so none of them paid me, and that's okay.
yeah,
Like judo's done so much for me, man. So I'd go to these jujitsu academies, and um, I'd charge $40 or whatever, and more than, well, I didn't think any of them would give me more money than that, but the majority of them gave me more money than what we agreed to. And I'm like, whoa,
that's
that's cool,
awesome,
man.
man.
Like, that's unbelievably like humbling, like,
Yeah,
thank you. So they obviously liked it. And I've been back and taught it some a second or a third time,
yeah,
which is cool. Some of them I've been to like once a quarter. And so again, like, I like teaching, I like networking, I like martial arts, I like grappling, and I've been teaching at 4M for a while.
yeah,
And I'm like, again, like back to the thought about, okay, do I want to try to do this on my own or whatever, because I like this travel schedule and I like going around. And for the most part, again, it's like I would do within 2 hours, but then it expanded to out of state, and some people would pay to lodge me and stuff. And again, it's like, who
That's
am I,
cool.
dude? I'm just like a nobody, man. Like
I don't think
I've
it's
been
nobody.
doing judo.
They probably, I'm sure they looked you up, saw some of your stuff, and but the first one is always the interview. You know what I mean? Watch you do your
Sure.
stuff, and you have something good
Yeah.
that they want, man. That's good stuff, man. Holy cow!
Yeah. So it's a so it just again like, and again it's like I say this stuff 100% not to like gloat or brag.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like when I say like I would go there and people would pay me more money, like I was shocked,
yeah,
like at first, like the first time that I got paid, I was like, whoa, like I got paid $40 to come and teach judo, like how
yeah,
awesome is that? It's like it's not about the money, but it's like, wow, that's cool that somebody would actually pay me to do this.
yeah,
Because again, like the judo mentality and the way that most judo's academies are run throughout the world, they're all nonprofit. So it's like the majority of the coaches like are doing it for free and sometimes lose money by having a judo club.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's like, do I want to keep doing the travel thing? Keep working at 4M, and then just yeah, I looked into like starting it just out of my house. And I did a lot of research. I looked into renting out places as well, and just decided that doing it out of my house, well, not out of my house, but on my
On your
property
property, yeah.
would be the best for me. And yeah, that was, we opened the door 2 weeks ago, but this has been a 6 month project altogether. I used local company to build the facility. I shopped around. I like to stay local, and I like small business if I can do it and it's not crazy, and they I don't got to get on some crazy like 2 year waiting list or something. Then
Yeah, yeah,
they
that's
don't
crazy. Yeah,
charge me an arm and a leg.
yeah.
But I did that. They did the concrete and the building. The same company did, so that was a plus. And then my neighbor actually is an electrician, and
Oh,
he
perfect.
did the electrical work in the dojo as well. And then I've done some of the work in there, the insulating, and I built a raised floor system
Oh,
for the dojo and
nice.
and stuff like that. But
Oh
yeah,
man, I love that, man. 'Cause just
that's my
hearing this stuff is
story.
yeah.
Have a great night, everybody. That's all I got now.
Remember, we say, tip your waitresses. I'm out.
Right?
But man,
Hey,
hearing this
you,
stuff
man,
is
you don't got to go home, but you can't stay here.
right, right. Oh man, like
I
I said,
heard
I
that
love
too
hearing
many
this kind of
times
stuff,
back in the
man.
day.
Because you know what, you like I said, you went out and sold yourself, and but I think that's what you have to do. You're going and basically proving yourself, and you going out now. Have you had any of these schools that you went to, after you finished, they were like, this guy don't know what he's talking about. Get out of here.
No, not that I
Good,
know of. No,
exactly. Like, nope.
not that I know of. No, like I said, the majority. Well, I don't know about majority. Like maybe about a third of them. Like I've been back to multiple times. A couple of the schools have actually closed down since then.
Yeah,
Since I've been there,
yeah.
or changed owners. That's also happened. But and again, it's like people have been like super helpful and
Yeah.
encouraging and stuff like that for me. And again, it's like it's not a gloat. It's not
Oh no.
um, bragging or anything, but it's like, when you hear from some of these instructors, like, you did a really good job. Like, I love the way you teach. It's just like, wow, thank you.
That's
Like,
cool.
it's just me. Like, I don't know. They're like, I'm glad you like it. It's like I tried my best,
Yeah, he
and
gave him
it's just nice to
100%.
hear, nice to hear that stuff. And when I opened up the dojo, I actually reached out to um, well, all the schools that I taught for, but other people that have been my judo students or other gym owners. I reached out to them and asked if they would give me like a Google review. And, I I have a 30 reviews from them,
Nice,
and
man.
I know it's like, wow, like it's super nice, man. But you have to like. you have to, like, I think, like one of the reasons why, um, or I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just making stuff up, but we have to like stick together in the martial arts game, and like crossing these borders and going to jujitsu places and working with jujitsu people and
Yeah.
going on there and being open-minded and teaching in a way that's going to benefit them and not me kind of attitude. Them seeing me or talking with me and realizing that my intentions are good
Yeah.
and I really do want to help people improve their grappling game. And like, that's what I want. I want them to understand. I want them to learn. It goes back to my years of being a public school teacher and a coach, man. Like, I might have this big, long objective for the day, or, I want to cover these 5 moves or whatever. But if we're on move one and people just aren't getting it,
Yeah.
we're not going to move on. Like, I'm
Right.
going to stop. I'm going to try a different approach. And I mean, obviously, you're not going to get 100% of the people to understand, but like, you know, whenever you're doing something and you see several people struggling,
Yeah.
okay, so we got to revisit this. We
Right.
have to
Right.
point out a different aspect.
Yeah.
Okay, let's stop what we're doing. Okay, maybe let's take a step back. Okay,
Yeah.
like if we're going for a hip throw, and I'm showing you step 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're still stuck on part one, step one, then let's take step one and expand it.
Right.
And let's start adding little things to it. Okay, like I have a drill that we can do that might be able to help. Then once I see that light bulb come on and I hear and see people, actually doing the moves correctly and things like that, it's like, okay, good. I don't like to talk, bad about people and stuff like that, but there are individuals out there, not just in martial arts, I mean in every walk of life, in every industry, to where they're all about just flash. Like, I'm
Oh,
gonna I'm
yeah.
gonna come, I'm going to show you this flash. You're going to be like amazed
Yeah.
and you're going to be in awe. But I'm going to leave and you're going to be like, well, I didn't learn anything. That was cool to watch, but I have no clue what he was talking about or what he
Exactly. What
did,
what happened?
you know?
Yeah.
And I've been to seminars to where the instructor is a well-known person and they would show cool moves. But man, like I wasn't able to take anything out of there. Like, I have no idea what they did. Or like, like you got these freak athletes that have these physical gifts
Yeah.
that are able to move like that and are able to jump like that and they
Yeah.
have that incredible speed. But nobody in that seminar can do that like them. So it's
Exactly.
like, again, it's like, and that's not what I do. Like, I want people to get something out of these lessons.
Right. I know
Like,
what you
I
mean.
want to
Yeah.
go to a school and I want to show stuff to people, and they could take something that they learned in that clinic or that seminar or that, mostly guest. I do like a guest instructor type
Okay.
role is
Yeah.
what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they take it and they're able to use it and they're able to understand it.
That's good.
And it's nice when I go places and people actually have questions. That's what I want. That means that they want to learn.
Yeah.
And
They're
that
listening.
means
They're
that
paying
they don't
attention.
understand too,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
like that's the goal. Like, I'm a
Yeah.
teacher, man. And it's like, that's what I want. I want people to learn and I
Yeah.
want people to grow and I want people to understand what I'm doing.
That's
And
cool.
it's important to me. It really is, man. And I think that's probably why what I'm doing, being a guy with no giant accomplishments under my belt. Like, I wasn't a national competitor. I don't have an Olympic medal. I don't have anything like that. But I have a lot of passion. I could tell you that. And
Yeah.
I'm the first to admit that I don't know everything, and I'm the first to admit that, like, if there's something that you can show me that will improve what I'm doing, even if this is your first 6 months of doing something and I've been doing it forever, like I'm
Yeah.
going to listen to you
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm going to take what you're showing me and, and implement it into my game. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's, that's the way that I am. I think again, that's maybe one of the reasons why this has been continuing and my programs have started to grow and
Yeah.
the dojo's open and I got some members and I think I don't know. I'm trying my best,
Hey,
I
it's all you
but I
could
think
do,
I'm on
man.
the right path.
Well, proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? You're putting yourself out there and you're getting good results. But that tells you something. You, like you said, last year you did 35 different places and those places got something from you. So that's huge. They learned from you. Now, when you go and go to these places, do you have a set thing you start everyone out with just to see what everybody wants to learn? Or do you have something set? I'm going to teach you this, this, and this, and this.
Well, it just depends. So, and again, like I'm also using a different approach in my scheduling. So this is I don't really even know like where like if I thought of this myself or if I like heard it from somebody or whatever. But what I do for the most part is I go to regularly scheduled classes. So if it's a Tuesday night class from 6 to 7, I go there and I'm a guest instructor. So to me, honestly, I think that that's better for somebody like me because I've had some like clinics like on a Saturday where it's like it's open after hours on a special day and
Yeah.
like like people got to pay and stuff like that to come.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to draw very many people by
Yeah.
my name. I mean,
Yeah.
they might see judo black belt looking to teach some cool takedowns that are jujitsu centric. Like people will be like, "Oh, that looks kind of cool," but they see my name and they're like, "I don't know who that dude
Who
is."
is
So
that
it's
guy?
like,
Yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if I go to a normally scheduled class and the instructor just kind of just pays me, I don't or doesn't pay me, either way. Um, but I go during a normal Tuesday night class, and the people that are normally going to be there are there. So it's like
Yeah.
I get good attendance like that,
That makes sense. I like that.
because I mean even at my club, man, well, or where I teach, like I this is a flop, which sucks, but it is what it is. But I did a takedown for jujitsu clinic with me and three other black or two was it two other black belts that I know. I was the judo black belt. Matthew was the freestyle wrestler,
Yeah.
the state medalist, and
Oh yeah.
Vernon was the sambo expert,
Wow, nice Sambo.
and yeah, and he's a judo black belt and a jujitsu black belt, so he's a cool dude. He's
Yeah.
been friends of mine. But I spent a lot of time like I did some paid advertising. I spread the word. Like the instructor, like the jiu-jitsu instructor, the owner of the club is like, hey, everybody should come to this and whatnot. And it's a flop, dude. It was a flop. I think, well, I mean, okay, well, I shouldn't say it like that.
Okay.
I wanted like 50 people there.
Yeah.
There was like 10.
Yeah.
I mean, so obviously the people that come, they liked it. And at the end, they're like, I'm so glad I came to this. This was worth the $50 for 2 hours of, like all this knowledge and stuff. And
Yeah.
let us know when you're going to do the next one kind of thing,
Gotcha.
So I don't know. I view things like that to where like people don't come to it as like a missed opportunity for them.
Yeah, I get it.
Not that it's not important to me. Like the people that are there, I'm happy they're there. I'm giving them my all. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that they learn.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's just a little bit discouraging,
Yeah, I get it.
when
Yeah.
you send out 50 flyers to 50 different schools and you send emails to the same schools and you hit them up on Facebook and you mail them a flyer and say, hey, I'd love to have you guys out, could you send a couple guys over if you want to come and learn, professor, you can. and they just don't come, man. And it's like it's just kind of discouraging,
Well,
But anyway,
it's that's probably, in my opinion, I think it's probably an ego thing because when I had our gym and we were having Grandmaster Pot come in and he was coming in for the teaching some hot keto techniques and all that. And I went the same thing. I went to all these different schools. I called them all, emailed. I'm doing legwork out there, beating the streets, inviting, and none of them showed. And I think most of it was maybe because they think that you're going to steal their students. They're going to see something cool over there, and I want to stay over there now. So I'm assuming that's probably what it was. I don't know. People just they don't want to get outside their box then too. You know what I mean?
it could be. No, I mean
Yeah.
it's definitely something that's both been brought up to me by others, but also just from hearing random things online or from other schools or people that have owned schools or whatever. So I mean, it comes up to an extent, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too because like that sort of stuff crosses my mind because I live like 45 minutes from Charlotte or maybe a little less. And that's actually been the market that's been hardest for me to tap into,
Okay.
honestly.
Yeah.
Like I would say like within the Charlotte area and maybe like the connecting suburbs, there's literally like 30 jujitsu schools here.
Oh yeah.
And I've only been to a couple,
Yeah. Okay.
I've only been to a couple. The rest of them just won't call me back. So it's like, again, it's like it could be because they think I'm trying to steal students or something. But I mean, it is what it is. But so back to what we were talking about coming as a guest instructor. So the numbers are better. It's probably overall cheaper for the owner to have me out for that, and he doesn't have to make, or she doesn't have to make a special day and
That makes sense.
advertise it,
Yeah,
you
that
know.
makes sense. Yeah.
And I've just, like I said, I've just been doing that, and haven't been doing it lately. But like I said, like in 2025, I was pretty busy with it, and there was probably a 3 month period to where I was going to one or two dojos a week,
Oh,
or
nice.
schools,
Nice. Real nice.
and a little bit of wrestling mixed in there too. I go, and do some wrestling related stuff too. It just depends, but I try to get out there, and like I'll show a little no-gi stuff as well. Um, but then as far as, so you asked earlier about kind of how I design the program or the lesson for the day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the first thing that I ask the instructor or the owner or whoever hires me to bring me out is, what are you wanting to learn?
Yeah, there you go.
What exactly are you wanting to learn? Now, you as a former judo guy and a martial arts practitioner, so what do you think is the main thing people ask me to show? What do you think?
The Ippon Seonaga, the other throw. No?
No. Take another guess.
Let's see. What you just talking? What do you want to know about the throws or a different type of throw?
Specific types of throws.
Okay, you know what?
Category of throws.
Let's say the one that one of my favorite throw is Tayatoshi. So is that one? Because that looks cooler.
No. They want
No?
me to show foot sweeps. They want me to
Ah, foot
they
sweeps.
want me to show
Gotcha.
foot sweep.
Gotcha.
But here's the thing, right? So, and as a brown belt in judo, you know that a foot sweep or something like a kuriashi barai, you make contact with the foot, and then with the momentum of your foot, you push their foot through. That's an
Yeah.
actual foot sweep.
Yeah.
But if I were to do something like a sasai or an ouchigari or something like that, that's actually not a foot sweep. That's something different, right? Like a
Okay. Yeah.
sasai is a
Yeah.
foot block,
Yeah.
and an ouchigari is a wrap or a grapevine action. So if people ask for that, the first thing that I talk to them about is, okay, like when you say foot sweep, like what do you mean? Specifically, what do you mean? And sometimes they are literally talking about a kuriashi barai. Shuffle,
Uh.
shuffle, boop,
Mm-hmm.
pow,
Yeah.
like the big fancy foot sweep.
Yeah.
Other times they're like, no, we just, we're just looking to maybe just, use our feet to attack. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a little different,
That's a
and I,
whole lot
I would
different.
much rather do that
Yeah.
because, you know, like if people are set on doing a Kuriashi Barai, I'll show it. But like, I started telling people like, I'll show it, but I'm telling you, like, it's not going to be beneficial for you guys because foot sweeps like that take a long time to learn, man.
Oh
And me
man,
coming on one day and you
timing,
guys don't
everything.
do any
Yeah.
foot sweeps at all,
Yeah.
they're not gonna learn it. And it's a rough fall and it's hard to learn, man. And especially when foot sweeps are harder from a wrestling or a jiu-jitsu stance as
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
The reason why foot sweeps are more effective in judo is because of the more upright uh, stance.
Yes.
That's why they work more effectively.
Yeah.
Because in order to foot sweep somebody, you got to get them to stand up real tall.
Get him towards his
And while
toes.
you can do that in jujitsu and you can do that in wrestling, it's a lot easier in judo because the stance is a little bit closer to standing up straight than the others.
Yeah.
So back to what I talk about with the coaches or the senseis or the owners. So I ask them first off, what do you want to learn? Sometimes they say we're open to whatever. Like, okay, cool. Tell me a little bit about your students. What's your student base? How often do you guys practice takedowns? Some of them are like, we don't practice takedowns at all. That's why we want you to come because we don't do them. So okay. Other times it's like, yeah, we practice takedowns every day and we just want to get better. So I try to get just a little bit of a feeler
That's smart.
before
Yeah.
I go, so then I know. Okay, I have a brand new crew, or I have a crew that has a little bit of experience, right? And I could tell, like, because people come up to me, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm so happy you're here. I used to do judo, or I used to wrestle in high school, so I'm excited to see you or whatever." So, I would get a little background. Then I would go and, again, it depending on what the sensei or the professor or the owner told me, if they wanted something specific, then I would make a plan and have some options from there. Or if they said it was kind of open to me, then I would say, okay, I'll probably work on this. And they're like, yep, I don't know what that means, but go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then, just like any activity, that I'm teaching. And, it doesn't even have to be martial arts wise. It's just an activity that I'm teaching. I gauge what I'm doing to the audience that's learning, right? Because a lot of the times I'll go and I'll teach a kids class and then I'll
Okay.
teach an adult class, right? I
Nice.
might show them similar stuff, but the approach is different. The explanations are different. Um, the mnemonic devices might be different. I do a lot of call and call back type stuff,
Okay.
with the kids. Like I say, okay, what do I make my hand as? A fist. What do I make it as? A fist.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
just stuff like that. Just things, call and repeat
Yep. For
type of
kids, yeah, you need that
type of
tons.
approach.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, as much as they can participate. And then, we start going, and I always start with break falls.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask you
And
that. Do you
again,
start there? Yeah.
yeah, all pretty much almost always. And the majority of the time, jujitsu places will at least practice a back fall, or at least will have a very rough version of one. Let's
Yeah.
just say it like that.
There you go.
I'm happy. I'm happy they're doing it, and I'm happy that people are getting exposure to it. But there's usually a couple details that I teach that's not pointed out.
Yeah.
Like the first thing. The majority of people that I see doing break falls, if they do a back fall, they break fall and their arms are straight out,
Straight
like
up
a
by the
capital letter
shoulders. It's
T.
like, my neck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I talk about why I I prefer to not do that, and a couple of examples of why I do that. and then we just get into like I always have lead up stuff, it could just be fit ins. It could be lifts with no follow through. It could be a grip fighting two position. I always lead up to it. I don't go, all right, we're doing Ogoshi, from the beginning to end as the first thing. I never
Here
do
you
that.
go.
I
Yeah.
don't even do that with, well, with my classes that I teach now, my own classes, yeah, we might go into a throw right away, but not very often.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
even with my own classes, probably 7 times out of 10, we always do some sort of like breakdown of each throw to where I explain, the entry part or how to get into
Yeah.
that or how to lift to control somebody or how to kazushi somebody first. The majority of the time it's like that. But
That's
again,
good,
like
man.
I go and I teach and I start to just gauge the audience, um, because I was a teacher and a PE teacher and a wrestling coach for so long, and I got so used to having to do stuff on the fly all the time, man, and having these surprises, like I'd write out these lesson plans, and I have an hour class, and sometimes I would blow through that lesson in 15 minutes. And now I got 45 minutes to like figure out what the heck I'm going to do. Or I'd write these big elaborate plans and I would try to get through everything and I just couldn't.
Yeah.
So it's like, so I'm used to kind of adjusting lessons all the time.
Yeah. Well,
And
that makes sense, though. You got to think on your feet. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And as I get exposure to these classes and stuff, I start to learn about things like, okay, if I have 4 objectives today, it doesn't mean that it is an unsuccessful or failed class if I don't get to all 4,
Oh, right.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if we did number 1, we understood number 1, we applied number 1, and we learned from number 1, that is much more effective and that's a much better day than me trying to rush through and get all 4 points on whenever I didn't spend enough time even explaining the first one kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's
That
like,
makes sense, man. I like
you
that.
know,
Yeah.
and I go in with a plan, but I'm always adapting, like because I go in and I explain it at a pretty basic level at the beginning. And then, depending on the class, I either have to take it a step down and explain it in even simpler terms, break it down slower, demonstrate this in a different way. And other times, I could step up the difficulty level. I can explain a little bit more in detail
Yeah.
because people are starting to get it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And
Yeah.
so I don't know that until I go there. And I honestly like I don't even know that about my own classes because like there'll be times to where like I'll have class and there'll be, my green belt will be there, both of my yellow belts will be
Yeah.
there. People that have been with me for several months are all there. And I
Yeah.
know new people. So, okay, cool. Like we can go into a little bit more advanced stuff and we can start
Right.
doing some movement drills and we can start picking it up. And then the very next day or the very next practice, I might have 3 brand new people
Yeah. Yeah.
and like that's all I have. So it's like, okay, we're not going to do a goshi like I was planning. We're going to do some break falling. We're going to do some gripping. We're going to do I call them low elevation throws
Motivation
out of
throws, you
the
said?
no low elevation.
Oh, they said
Closer
motivation throws. I'm like, I want to see
no
what
no
that
no
is.
no. Closer to the ground.
Yeah.
Closer to the ground takedown.
Like some
So
drop nuggies and things,
fall
or like some
what
drop
now?
nuggies and things like that lower.
Well, no. That is a low elevation throw, but I'm saying like stuff that is easy to take the fall,
Ah, okay, I
like
see
an
what you mean. I see
Ochigari
what you
or
mean.
a Tanio Toshi
Gotcha.
or a knee pick or something like that, like a double ankle tackle or something. So it's like
Ah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
it's an easy takedown to receive,
Yeah.
right?
I see what
Like
you mean.
you're
Yeah.
not leaving the ground. Um, you're being thrown from waist level or below, so it's much easier to take the fall. So it's like you were saying about like judo. People get beat up or people have to take all these falls and stuff, and yeah, it absolutely can be like that for
Yeah.
sure, but it doesn't have to be like that.
Gotcha.
It's like I because like my goal is to grow judo and to not just grow it for athletes that want to compete at a high level. Like, I want somebody my age and
Yeah.
your age
Yeah.
to come to judo and not get turned away by it because it's like nothing but getting slammed all the time. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want
That's
that.
cool,
Like,
man.
I want people to enjoy it, man. And it's like I try to, like, and again, it's from a lot of study and a lot of trial and error and a lot of talking and a lot of reading and a lot of watching. I'm trying to teach it and create this model to where it's back to where, Jigoro Kano talked about
Oh
judo and
yeah.
says that it was for everybody,
Yeah.
and I mean, because before jujitsu started using that model, that was directly from Jigoro Kano.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the origin of judo was to create an exercise and fitness program for literally anybody. To take the dangerous aspects out of Japanese jiu-jitsu and apply it in a physical education realm that anybody of any age, any ability level can do.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
like that's what I want to do with judo.
That's cool. Going back to its
And I've
roots.
gotten to these conversations a lot with
Yeah.
people. One thing that I want to see more of with judo is the few people that are promoting judo and releasing videos for judo and social media and teaching judo and things like that. We need to start showing how judo isn't this Olympic caliber, super athletic, um, super hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like the majority of the time when somebody types in what is judo, a clip of the world championships comes up, a
Right.
clip of the Olympics comes up.
Yep.
This highlight reel of the Ponsianagis and Uchimatas and hard Tomonagis and
Yeah.
things like that. High flying moves come up. That's the
Yeah.
first thing.
Yeah.
And I really think that is a mistake by judo worldwide, man. It's like, because if we want to get more people into it and appeal more to the grassroots and the everyday member of judo, we need to start promoting it different, man.
Yeah.
The majority of people that see that, they might think it's cool, but people are either like, I don't want to do that. It looks hard. I don't want to get injured,
Yep.
or I'm not
Especially the older
athletic enough
crowd.
to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. People with
And
jobs
that's
and lives.
exactly, and that's the opposite of what I want. I have 50-year-old, 60-year-old people that are joining the judo class and are coming back. I mean, I
Yeah.
even have a guy that that just asked to do a package of 10 privates with me, and he's
Wow.
in his 50s,
Oh
and it's like
man.
it's like that's what I want, man. I
Yeah.
want people to understand that judo doesn't have to be this hard, dangerous thing. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be, and
I
you don't
like
have
that,
to
man.
compete if you don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's important, man. Like, that's one of my missions, is to take away some of the misconceptions of judo
Yeah.
from people. You know,
I get it, man. That's good
that was a
stuff,
lot of
man.
talking, man. I'm sorry. I just talked
No,
for like
brother,
30
I
minutes
love it,
straight.
man. I think you have a great mindset and thought process of what you're trying to accomplish. And I know, talk on, my friend.
Trying,
That's good stuff,
trying.
man. Wow. So what's happening next for you? What's your next plan now? Because you got your dojo started. You've been doing all things. You have a good philosophy where you want to bring these guys in and how you want to train them. So what's your next thing?
Well, I mean, I got several things on like the horizon. Like if we're talking about my dojo. You know, I don't know if I said this or not. I think I did, but you know, my goal is by the end of the first month, I want to have 5 members, and by the end of 3 months, I want to have 10 members. I think that's a very realistic goal,
That's extremely
and I
realistic.
think that's yeah, and I think that that is absolutely doable. And you know, with hope, I might crush that, but you know, we'll see. Um, so I want to grow the dojo, obviously. You know, I'm working on getting the word out, expanding, or not it well, expanding as far as people knowing about it.
Right.
You
People
know, like
knowing
I'm
you and coming
trying
in here.
different avenues of people to find the place, to know that we exist. You know, so that means some advertising. It means putting up some signs and you know at intersections. It means hanging some flyers. It means contacting schools and sending them flyers and telling them that I'm here and this is a great activity for kids.
Yeah.
You know, and as that happens, you know, I have some work I got to do in the dojo. You know, like we went back to that money thing. You know, like yeah, I could have, you know, put HVAC and had it fully insulated and paid for brand new tatamis and stuff, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to go that route. So
Yeah.
like as time goes on, like the next thing I want to do in the dojo is finish the insulation. I'm about 3/4 of the way there,
Okay. Yeah.
and then I want to put up wall mats.
Yeah. Oh
You know,
yeah.
that'll be the
Walnuts. Yep.
next thing.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, so expanding the dojo.
Man.
I want to continue to network in the martial arts community, like doing stuff like this, you know, and you know, you know, I looked at your numbers as well. You know, we're
Yeah.
both small or on the smaller side,
Yep.
you know, and it's like it's good to network with people that
Absolutely.
are, you know, in the same you know, circle or whatever you want to call it, you know, that are kind of at the same points
Yeah. Everybody's trying to
with
grow.
their, you know,
Yep.
with their expansion.
Yeah.
I want to expand farther out with some of my travel teachings. I want to I'm doing you know, like a good amount of social media, and I want to continue to become better at that. I
Yeah.
want to get better at video editing. I want to get better at talking and presenting myself in front of the camera. I want
Yeah.
to have deeper things that I want to talk about. I want to release, you know, more instructional type stuff
Oh man.
on
Good.
YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, because I mean, I've been releasing stuff, and you know, I would say like if I were to do the comparison, you know, like I talk about philosophy, I talk about growth. Sometimes I'll do motivational stuff,
Yeah.
but the videos where I actually show moves usually get better numbers for the
Yeah.
most
Everyone
part, you
likes that.
know,
Yeah. Everyone likes seeing that stuff. Yeah.
overall,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and so I've been kind of waiting until I got the dojo built and stuff, but now that I do, you know, I want to start recording some stuff inside the dojo, actually showing some technique. Because again, it's like I can do it whenever I want. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah. You can walk
the
out there and do
owner
it
of the
anytime.
gym that I
Yeah.
work for is cool and he's a great guy. And he's like, of course you could film, you know, you just can only do it during this time frame or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like, man, I can't make it over there and I can't find somebody to come at that time or whatever, you know, and I get it. Like I'm not faulting him.
No,
I'm
it's just
thanking
time.
him with from the bottom of my heart that he even says I could do it, you know. It's like,
That's
you
cool
know,
though.
like I've been so like, you know, blessed, fortunate, lucky to work for the gym that I work for, man. He's awesome, you know.
That's cool, man. I
He's a
like that.
no frills guy.
Yeah.
You know, whenever he needs something done, he tells me in plain English, word for
Yeah.
word, what he wants, and I would
Yeah.
much rather have that than somebody say, well, you know, you might want to do this, you know,
Yeah.
this is
That's
okay,
beating
and
around
you
the
know, this
bush.
like, you know, don't do this. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool, thank you.
Done.
You could
Yeah.
do this. Oh,
Yeah.
great. I like that. I like that. I don't
Yeah.
like that beat around the bush crap.
Very
So it's
direct.
like,
Get things done.
and I and yeah, and he'll, you know, and he'll explain the reasons behind his decisions if I ask. And it's been great, man. He's really, I run the program how I want. I have another thing that I do is I have I call it like a teaching exchange. So other black belts in North Carolina and South Carolina, we do flip-flops on teaching, to where I go to their club and teach for a night, and they come to my club and teach for a night.
That's good.
So again, it's like, I think that that's important. I think it's important, man. It's
Yeah.
like, I think that there's absolute pros and cons for either having the same coach for the majority of your athletic career, and pros and cons for having a lot of different coaches
Yeah.
in your athletic career. And
Yeah.
I was one that had a lot of coaches, and I kind of believe in that system. And so I want my judo participants, my judokas, to get like a different approach and a different eye and a different perspective of this stuff. And also, I do that for that, but also because judo is just so small, man. I think, in the whole state of North Carolina, there's probably only about 25 judo dojos in the whole
Whew,
state. I mean, it's
really?
small, man.
Wow.
And then in
Yeah.
South Carolina, it's even smaller.
Yeah.
And it's a small community, but I want them to know that, there are other judo dojos out there. There are other black belts. There are other people that are interested in this.
Yeah.
And, we're a small group within the jiu-jitsu club. And I could go into this tangent too, but, out of, 200, jiu-jitsu members, I only get about 10 judo players, and it's
Yeah.
like, again, that's
That's a small number, man.
in my opinion, like, because we have a competition team for jujitsu.
Oh yeah.
If I was a jujitsu instructor, I would require them to go to judo. Like,
Yeah.
I would
That should be a part
say,
of the
if you're going to
curriculum. Yeah.
compete for this club,
Yeah.
go to judo.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a suggestion. This is like an order.
Yeah.
But it's like, people just don't come. And it's
Yeah.
like,
I get it.
yeah, I train jujitsu when I can. And there's been times to where I train it heavily, multiple times a week, and other times, like right now, to where if I get a couple practices in a month, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And, like, we'll be doing live, and people will go on the feet with me. Some of them won't,
Yeah.
which is again, like, I could go into a big tangent about this too. But, like, we'll be doing live from the feet, and I'll take them down, or throw them or whatever. Afterwards, they're like, "Man, I just really got to get better on my feet." And I'm like, "Well, that's interesting, because we have a judo
Yeah.
program here,
Come
and you
on
should
over.
come. Like, you should come."
Yeah.
And so, and I'm sure you have talked to people all the time about judo, but you get two different responses most of the time. If somebody does not know martial arts, then they're clueless about what judo is. Or if they are somewhat familiar with martial arts, they think that judo is just slam them on their head, slam them
Yeah.
on their head, go hard, like,
Yeah.
it's not safe, it's dangerous. So
Yeah.
it's like, that's the number one thing that I hear when I invite them to come to judo. They say, "I don't want to get thrown on my head." That is the most common response that I get.
Wow. Okay.
And it's crazy too, because, like, I'll have conversations with these people in jujitsu class. Like, we just got done rolling, but we started on our feet, and I took them down, and then we finished the round, and they're like, "I don't want to get slammed in my head." I'm like, "Did I slam you on your head?" And they're like, "Well, no."
Yeah. You're like,
I'm like,
well,
"Okay, well, why do you think you're going to get slammed on your head?" And they're like, "Well, you're a black belt, and you're controlled, and, like, you're taking it easy on me." And I'm like, "Okay, but, like, if you're a beginner, like, what purpose would it serve for me to slam you on the ground?
exactly. You don't
Like,
have the ego for that. Yeah.
what would what would be the purpose? Like,
Yeah.
who would benefit from that?
Nobody.
I wouldn't benefit from that because you don't know what judo is. So like, you can't defend what I'm going to do, you know? And you know, like I don't need to slam you out of ego, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I actually want to do the opposite, man. Like,
Yeah.
I want like I am the safest person you can go with takedowns in this club.
That's cool.
Like, I am. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like I know how to take you down safely.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I'm the least person to worry about with this, you know? Like, I'm gonna come down to whatever level you're at with your grappling, and if I end up taking you down or throwing you, it's gonna be easy,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be controlled, and no
Controlled
one is gonna
throwing.
get
Yeah.
hurt from it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, again, it's like people got to start realizing this, man. And again, it has to do with like, you know, the marketing and the perception of what judo is promoted as these
Yeah.
days, man. And it's like,
Yeah.
jujitsu has done such a good job.
Oh,
You know, you
phenomenal.
type in jujitsu, most of the time it's an older guy taking a move, showing you on another older guy, saying, look at how easy this is.
Yeah.
This is step one. Anybody can do this. This is step two. See, this isn't dangerous.
Yeah.
This is step three. Wow. This is such an easy thing to do. Anybody can do this.
Yep.
You
You're
know,
right.
it's
You're
like
right. That's how they treat.
you,
Yeah.
you don't, you know, you got to kind of search a little bit to find the flying arm bars and the flying
Yeah.
triangles and the jumping guard and stuff, you know, but it's like, that's what I'm saying about like the marketing. You know, it's like, if you know, and that's what I'm trying to do with judo, man. It's like I want to present it in a way to where somebody sees what I'm doing and they're like, I could probably do
I can do
that, you
that.
know, like
Yeah. I like
that
that.
doesn't look. I've had people all the time say to me, wow, that move was easy to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's really not that complicated if you understand like the schematics about it, and like if it's explained to you in the correct way.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's like you have a person, you have to get them to the ground. It's really not like biomechanically, it's not that hard to do.
Yeah.
You know, you could go into a lot of detail with technique, you know, and balance and stuff like that, but the act of taking somebody from their feet and putting them on the ground is a pretty basic concept.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's just, you know, what you do in between those, you know, is really going to separate somebody saying I could never do that, or somebody saying, oh, I could probably do
Yeah.
that. You know, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I want to do
Yeah.
with you know, with judo. You
Yeah.
know, so
No, but you know that's what it is. It's about the marketing, how you present it, and you're right, brother. Man, you got a lot of things coming up, man. You know, for being a small dojo starting out, you have a lot of irons in the fire that's going to make that place explode, brother. And I commend you for doing it. I really do, man. Because teaching ain't easy. Starting a gym ain't easy. Starting a whole new system ain't easy, and you're doing it all. That's pretty cool, man. But hey, brother, before we get you out of here, tell everyone how they can reach out to you, find you on the social media, find some of your videos, find you, everything. So how they can reach out to you, man.
so the dojo is it's called Student First Martial Arts and Fitness. It's in Monroe, North Carolina. It's about 45 minutes south of Charlotte. It's near Fort Mill, South Carolina. Would be probably the nearest closest town. As far as, you know, there's some contact info on there. Some of my social media. So on YouTube, it's Student First Martial Arts, and that's first like one ST, so like first place, one ST, Student First. My TikTok is Sensei Cole Stanley, and my podcast, which is on Spotify. Uh, all the episodes, which I just loaded number 57 today.
Nice.
All my episodes on Spotify for the Well-Rounded Grappler there. But the first 50 episodes are audio only,
Yeah.
and
I
it's
started out that
only
same
been
way
since
too.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been adding video, and all my newest episodes for the podcast are also on YouTube with video, and then I've slowly started to put the audio ones on there. I have about eight or nine of them.
Yeah.
Not many, Which
Yeah.
again, like content and getting stuff loaded and then trying to have a life and like trying to do all
It's
this
hard,
stuff.
man.
I mean, it's hard to do it all, man.
It
So it's
is, man.
like,
It is.
there's some of the older episodes on YouTube, but all of them are on Spotify. They're
Yeah.
all free to listen to.
Gotcha.
They're all don't require a membership.
That's good.
And, like if people listen to this and, are interested in helping me out in any way that they can, whether it's coming on to the social media and listening and learning, if they like it and want to, subscribe or share the video or, stuff like that, it's cool. But really though, like if people watch what I'm doing
Yeah.
and they could take some of it and bring it to their own students or add it to their own game, like that's kind of the main purpose of this, and then I'm always looking to expand the travel teaching schedule too.
Okay.
It's like, I've been, like I said, to 35 schools last year, which was within 4 states, and
Yeah.
like you know, the idea of going some like anywhere really is not out of the question. Like if people want to reach out to me and maybe give me a shot and have me into their club, I'm always like grateful and honored and humbled for anybody that wants me to do that.
That's
You
cool.
can reach out to me through any of those social media outlets. Yeah, and then if anybody wants to travel and stop by the club, they can.
Yeah. That's
But
cool, man.
yeah, I mean, it's. I'm just trying to not grow in a way to like fame or a million subscribers or something. Like that's not like
Yeah.
the important part for me. But like if I got people, if you are looking to grow as a martial artist and you're wanting to hear and learn some genuine content that might be able to help you, and you want to listen and you want to spend some time watching it, that would be the person that I would want to, like
That's cool.
subscribe or to like watch or listen to what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you're looking for the flashy stuff or like all these catchy words and like studio quality editing and
Yeah.
like I'm just not that guy,
You're
man.
not the guy for
I'm just
that.
not.
I hear you, brother.
No, I'm not the guy, but like how I'm presented is me. Like this
I
is
like
me,
that.
dude.
Yeah, this
Like
is who
the
you are,
videos
man.
are me. Like I'm
Yeah.
not. This is no
Down
act,
home guy.
and this I'm just a dude, and like I don't have the accolades, but
Not
I
yet.
have the passion. I could tell you that.
Yeah, you do. I
I'm
can
not
tell,
worried
man,
about that
just from our
stuff.
conversation here, man, you have a lot of passion. And I think a lot of places need that. A lot of
Thank
people
you.
need to see that, man. But brother, this has been awesome, dude. I hope we get to do number 2 when your gym grows and see some stuff about you out there to get you back in and we could talk some more. Man, you've been great, brother.
Oh,
Well, man,
thank you.
we'll be talking soon, my friend.
Thank you, Tony. Before we go, obviously, I wanted to. Sorry, got distracted there, but
That's okay.
our messages coming in. But obviously, number one, thank you for this opportunity, man. Anytime that I can network and grow and expand and meet new people and learn and share is always awesome.
Yeah.
And like, and I do the same too with like, you know, my podcast, like I have everyday people on there
Yeah.
as well as Olympic caliber people, and I learn and I listen, and man, it's awesome to just have the everyday people on there as well.
Yeah. That's what I love, man.
And I want you to grow, and I want and I just I know that the only way, particularly judo especially, but martial arts, we have to work together,
Yeah.
and
We
we
have to.
have to get out of the mentality of if you go somewhere else, it's you're not welcome here
Yeah,
anymore, kind of
that's
thing.
crazy. Yeah, man.
It's like
You're right.
we got to have an open-minded attitude. We have to spread martial arts. We have to tell the truth about martial arts and how beneficial it is, and how it is for everybody, and how that there's a lot of avenues that you can do, man.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
if you want to do striking, get into a striking martial art. Like I tell people, like we talk about martial arts, and they're like, oh, I don't know about judo, but man, I kind of like boxing. And I'm like, well, why don't you go to a club? Why don't you go and try it? And they're like, well, I don't know, I just never thought about it. I'm like, just go try it. Like,
Go do it.
like I see kids on the playground, and if I have kids that win every foot race, I tell their parents get them in the track.
There you go.
I see a kid that throws farther than anybody else, get him in football. Um, I see these scrappy kids, I say put them in wrestling.
Get in wrestling, man. I think every kid should learn wrestling. I really do, man. Is it
Yeah,
coming up,
I
man?
do.
Oh yeah.
I do. But yeah, no, but just thank you so much, Tony. It
You're more than welcome,
means
my
the
friend.
world to me to to get on this stuff. And like I said, man, I'm just a guy, but
You are a
I'm
great
very
guy, man,
appreciative of this.
with the huge heart, man. And I appreciate you too, man, for taking the time to do this for us. And like you said, if one grows, we all grow together. Just stick together. That's it, my friend.
Okay,
All right,
appreciate you.
all right, brother. Appreciate you. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Tony.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.